Welcome to the Millennial Mic.
I'm Ali.
I'm Joe.
And this is the Millennial Mic.
Content for us, by us.
Hi, Joe.
Hi, Ellie.
How are we today?
We're good.
I like your outfit.
Thanks.
And I like that our guests get to see it. I feel like this is going to be a zoom into Rushane's face.
Don't even.
Anyway, Joe, take it away.
All right. So, Rushane Campbell, more popularly known as RushCam, is a Jamaican YouTuber, influencer, entrepreneur, and thought leader. This attorney turned content creator has managed to pack up motivational, lifestyle, socio-political, and spiritual content into an authentic and memorable experience via his high-impact YouTube channel. You can find him breaking down the barriers of childhood experiences and investigating the lives of successful young people on his own podcast, Pack Up with RushCam, which is slated to return in January 2021. His skincare line, Skin Rush, slated for release soon, is the embodiment of his business acumen and playing to his strengths of knowing how to glow on the go. It is our pleasure to welcome to the Millennial Mic the epitome of hashtag Black Boy Joy and the sporadic Jingle King himself, RushCam. Welcome to the show.
Hello.
Welcome.
Ladies and ladies. No, but seriously, you guys really look good for true. When I was downstairs, I saw Ali and I was like, wow, you dressed up.
And I was like, well, it's not every day.
We have
RushCam on the channel, on the
Thank
show,
you
on the
guys so much
podcast.
for having me. I'm going to use Jo Marie's introduction as my bio now.
Okay, that would
I'm
be
just
good.
going to, copy and
That's
paste it
fine,
and
no
send it out
problem.
for 2021. Thank you so much.
You're most welcome.
I think Jo Marie and I should start a side hustle where we just write bios for
bios,
people.
yeah.
For sure. Like,
No,
that
that
was
is-
top tier, 10 out of 10.
It's
Thank
so
you
much
so
easier
Thank
to write
you.
for somebody else.
Yeah, I
than
can't. Yeah,
yourself.
Ali
Yeah.
wrote my bio because I gave up on the cause.
Yeah.
And
I
she
didn't.
got it.
I love it. No, seriously, I love it. Thank you guys for having me, and I'm so excited to talk.
Thanks for being here. So, as you know, we like to warm it up.
You know, so I'm now warm up with on a plan for warm up with me. I'm listen to the
Yes.
podcast, Ali. I'm not singing no song.
Well, that's usually Jo Marie's question. So I'm going to go ahead and ask you. You did a video recently about 10 things you can't live without. If you had to live without one of your devices, which would it be and why?
Wow.
Jo Marie, can you help him?
No, that's not
Just
really
warm
good. No, I definitely would live without my computer.
Oh, okay.
Because when you have an iPhone, sorry, Joe, so sorry, but when you have an iPhone, you can, it's like a one-stop shop. Like everything is on it. I can edit my videos on my iPhone. Mark it, it's not as
It's not as easy,
and,
yeah.
you know,
Not as
comfortable,
robust,
but
yeah.
I can't take calls on my computer in the middle of halfway through, can I?
No.
So,
Nor can you call a taxi if you're stuck
you
in the
know,
middle of
like
it.
if,
Right.
if I need to call my mechanic, I can't say
gonna be a
Danny call me on Google Meet, you know. So I'm gonna go with the laptop, the MacBook, and keep the phone.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that. You know that this Procaster can go straight to your phone. So I'm with you on that. I think I'd have to pick my
Yeah.
phone as the only
Yeah.
one.
Come on,
So you have more options.
Jo Marie, what would you choose?
Honestly,
I knew he was gonna
I'd
interview
have
us,
to-
you know.
Oh no, we prep for that, so we're fully prepared.
We were
for
like,
that.
we should be able to
Okay.
answer all of the questions that we
Oh, for
also
sure.
ask.
If I had to live without one of them, to be honest, I can't live without my laptop because all of the work that I do is on it. Like
And
my
we could
phone, I
call
live without
Warren.
my phone.
No, but you're always talking to us on the phone.
That's
no,
true.
but then the thing is, Telegram would allow me to speak to people without the need for a phone because I can call through my laptop. I don't have to actually use the phone.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So you
cool.
understand?
Yeah.
Everybody just have to jump up on Telegram because I need my I can't do graphic.
Or
I
we
only
could just
use
call
Telegram
Warren.
to
Warren
send
could
a-
be in the group chat.
I only
Yeah,
use
but then
Telegram
here's
to
the thing,
send
guys.
a risky
I
text.
cannot. I can't do graphic design on my phone.
Oh.
Okay.
Cannot.
Facts.
Yeah.
Well, we
Yeah.
could iMessage you. We could convert our WhatsApp group to iMessage group.
I hope you know that Rushane only like iMessages are privilege. I don't think everybody can iMessage
I have been
him.
iMessaged by him.
Yeah, which means you're a part of the select few.
Yeah.
But otherwise,
If you message me on
Yes, but the
iMessage and
three of
we're
us
not
would fall
friends,
within that.
yeah, for sure. But,
Okay.
No.
you guys know.
Wait.
Listen, if you message me on iMessage and we are not close friends, I'm gonna just get so mad. I'm gonna be so mad. And
Why?
Telegram I use for
What's the?
No,
thirst
because
traps. Huh?
no, no. Say that again. Sorry, we're interjecting.
I say I use Telegram for like
the
you know?
risky text.
Yes,
But you said you use
yeah.
iMessage for the thirst traps.
No. I use Telegram for all of the
Okay.
risk.
Why is that? Because it's better encrypted.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
and
it is.
oh
Plus
yes,
less people are on it.
oh yes,
That's facts.
and you can send like disappearing message. Oh, it's so good. Oh, it's the best. Oh, it is the best.
Ooh, it's like Snapchat, Instagram.
All of them
all in one.
The first time I
Okay.
was tempted to cheat, I used Telegram. Yeah.
We're gonna have to
We're
unpack
gonna
that
have
in
to-
this episode.
All right. So
We are warm.
we
Don't
are
worry,
very
we are
warm, and it's only question one. Okay, so we know that you have a really close relationship with your grandfather, and you know what we want to know is what's your grandfather's nickname for you? What does he call you?
Wow, that is so funny because he doesn't call me anything.
He
Like
just calls you Rushane.
no, he doesn't. We don't. We,
Oh, he does.
like literally, I would be like, "Daddy, I need XYZ," because I call him Daddy. Because I mean, come on. And he's just like, and he just responds. Like I can't hear him calling a name right now. Probably, actually, lies. My grandfather and my mom were the ones who came up with RushCam.
Really?
Wow.
He was the first person, between him and my mom. They were just like, RushCam. And I was just like, huh? Who is that? They're like you. But my grandfather doesn't typically call names.
Okay.
Only
Yeah.
when he's talking about you or in reference to you.
That he'll call.
So,
how did
in
he,
reference to me, he
Yeah.
says Rushane.
okay.
He's very...
But
So
like,
how
if
did
you're in the
Rushcam
house,
conversation even come up? Like they just said it to you one day, randomly one
I
Tuesday,
think,
or how did it happen?
I think they were just like they were just messing around and called me RushCam one day. Like it wasn't a conversation like, oh, let's have a red table talk about what your brand name is gonna be.
Yeah.
But I was in high school and my grandpa was just like, RushCam, help me with so and so and so and so. And I
so
was
from
just like,
high school,
yeah,
you had
if you
this
look
name
at
in the
my
back of your
high school
head.
jerseys, my high school jerseys, because at Campion, you know, you wear like house jerseys and you can get your name with the number. From like fifth form, it was RushCam.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
So did you ever think that just a casual like, hey, this is your name, RushCam, that it would become what it is today?
I didn't think so, but people thought so. Because when I look at my yearbook, sixth form, the blurb that was written on me, I remember the person, because you know, like you're supposed to submit one under your photo, but you ask people to write for you.
Yeah.
So I asked like 6 people to write, and I chose the best one because I'm just like, there's no way I'm gonna settle for somebody's half-ass mediocre version of me. So I'll just choose one out
This
of
is
the
a
6.
competition, and you're gonna buy two.
I have 6 photos
of
in
you
my
in my hand, and only one of you will become RushCam's writer. And the person wrote RushCam, such a succinct but powerful trademark that will, like, it was so powerful and prophetic. I never saw it, but people saw it.
Yeah.
And they even said, if law fails, what will he be? He'll be a TV host, you know, like stuff like
Yeah.
that. So they all knew. I just didn't
Wow,
know.
Speaking
Yeah.
it into existence.
Yeah.
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 I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Jeremy, I need help with this question. I'm gonna be
Yeah.
real, because I
Alright.
feel like this is the question you're best at.
No, but here's the thing: we're gonna tag
Okay.
team it, right?
You
No,
are
Ali,
known.
because you feel like it's not your question, I want you to ask it.
All right.
Why am I always do that?
So love to do it.
Get comfortable with discomfort here with growth and goals. Okay, you are known, allegedly, for coming up with songs on the spot.
Mm-hmm.
Are you up for the challenge of doing that now? And if you had to come up with a song for Millennial Mic or a jingle for Millennial Mic, what would it sound like? Joe Marie,
You
give him a
had it.
beat.
You had it.
All right. Ba-dum-bum. Ta-dum-tum. Ta-dum-tum. Millennial Mic. We now go fight. We look bright and right. And Joe and Ali get it right. Wine to the ground, cause you're millennial. Wine to the ground, cause I had to whine somewhere.
All right.
Because
Very critical.
I always tell you this is a serious podcast, and sometimes I have to just,
It's just a podcast.
Yeah,
It's just a podcast.
yeah, not just a podcast, but it's just a podcast.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man, coming soon on iTunes. Wine to the ground with Millennial
I
Mic.
hope you remember that.
Well, it's recorded now, so
So we're going to play it back.
Talk
Agent
about
Sasko,
it.
Rushane is coming for the intro song.
Diamond Studios.
So those are the warm-up questions, and we just want to get deeper and deeper into knowing more about you. Now, you've been very transparent, like almost like clear
Transparent.
about who
Honest.
you are in your videos and in your interviews. And if there's a missing chapter of your story that you would want people to get to know more about, what would that be?
Oh, this is a very easy question. I think it would be my struggle with relationships.
Okay.
And I'm not just talking like intimately, but friendships as well. And just the way that I've struggled over the years to discern, like, whether or not people are in my corner, to discern whether or not I am undervaluing myself versus overvaluing myself, all of those things. I think that part of who I am, I've not tapped into on social media or in the YouTube space, because it's of course like a continuous work in progress,
Right,
and it's something that I haven't necessarily resolved as yet.
Yeah.
So I definitely think that if I make it to 30, I just talk about those things, those lessons in relationships that I've learned in my 20s. Because the truth is, like, it's always easy to come on the internet and talk about knowing your worth, and oh, my family, and I know that I deserve to be loved from family, and I know because you read that in a book somewhere, and you're just like, fine. You know that you're supposed to be paid what you're due because you saw it in life, and you're like, fine. Yeah. But then we all have this Achilles heel, as Joe Marie would like to call it, and we find that we're weak or more vulnerable with people who we have chosen as family. The friends, the girlfriend, the boyfriend, the auntie, not the auntie, the uncle, but those intimate relationships that are not blood. And I've just tried to navigate that, and I would love to share it with my subscribers one day. Yeah.
And I think what's interesting about that, having
Ali's face kills me, guys. You should see Ali's face right now. She's just like, wow.
Profound.
No, I think it's just really important to be so open and vulnerable about that, because it's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
And it's hard in a world that tells you that you need to say, like, I am enough. I am good enough.
Yeah.
To constantly believe that is a different kind of inner work.
Yeah, and I thought about it the other day, and I said to someone that you think you're enough, and you think you know your worth until you look at the things that you've been willing to accept. Like the things that we've been accepting from people who we claim are close to us and people that we love, it says a lot about worth.
Yeah.
It says so much about worth. Like, you're in a relationship, Joe, Ali. Well, Joe is married. Ali, may I talk? You're in a relationship. No, you're in a relationship. I saw it on Twitter the other day. You're in a relationship and you find out that the person is in a relationship with someone else.
Oh, I saw that.
And
I
she
know
said,
exactly. Yeah.
She said, why are you asking what happened? When you're asking what happened, you're opening a door, and you're giving someone an opportunity to take you for a fool.
Yeah.
Right? But it's the things that we've been accepting because we're not quite sure about our worth. Like, we say we're sure, but we're not really sure. But anyway, that's the answer to your question.
Yeah, because what occurred to me while you're speaking, in terms of the nature of relationships and what they reflect for people, is how do you navigate that awareness while at the same time still being vulnerable to let people in on an ongoing basis? Because one would say that after having certain experiences, it's like, oh, well, look, I see this 10 times and I want to see it an
Can't text
11
my phone
time.
again.
Which
Yeah.
is your thing. So how do you balance that vulnerability while still being open to have new relationships?
I think I take it a day at a time.
Yeah.
I use my discernment, and I accept that the experiences,
Mm-hmm.
albeit negative and sometimes scarring,
Mm-hmm.
if I took what I was supposed to take from them, I'd have additional armor or strategy to understand how to navigate the ones that come along.
Yeah.
So instead of using it as a barrier, I use it as armor.
Okay.
You know, like I'm not like,
You
oh, you
enter the
can't-
space with a different.
Right.
But
Right.
I'm not just like, oh, you can't come in. There's a tower around me. No. I'm just like, I'm going in, but I have these tools
Yeah.
in my toolkit to be able to navigate the space.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think also too something that I find I often learn from those kinds of engagements with people that are like challenging is that I learn a lot about myself as well as learn how to move through the world with other people.
Absolutely. It's really and truly one of those, like all of these experiences, if you take what you're supposed to take from them, you would have tapped into so many different parts of yourself like you didn't know existed.
I was just gonna say,
You know?
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
so beautiful because I look back at things from even a year ago and I'm just like, wow, like I've learned so much about myself.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Every year,
Yeah.
more wise. I
Yep.
feel like this is a good follow-on question because Jomer and I knew we were going to throw the script out the window at some point in this
Yeah.
conversation.
Oh my God.
But I love this
Sorry.
concept of, our generation talks so much about like spirituality versus being religious versus like, manifesting versus praying, all those kinds of things. I guess what we want to understand is there a misconception about spirituality and what it means to you that you want to help clear up for others?
That question is very layered. And so I'm going to just answer and then we can navigate it together.
All right,
You know?
let's do
Yeah.
this.
All
Because
right,
we
so-
all, I think, have really interesting and different belief
Right,
systems.
right.
So,
So
let's
no-
do this.
I am not. I do not like to say that I'm not religious. I do not like to say I am spiritual because spirituality is a whole realm of, like it's a whole different conversation than religion, right? And the people who identify with spirituality, a lot of the things that they connect to and identify with, I do not.
Yes.
Because my belief is grounded in Christianity,
Right.
which although we want to say, oh, XYZ, blah, 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 it is still a religion.
Right.
Yeah.
I am connected to Christianity at its core, which represents Jesus, God, and the love that comes as a result of it, right? So I'm a follower of Christ, but I'm not a follower of Christianity. Because Christianity as the religion is upside down, a human construct that really and truly, if we're calling it a spade, it's connected to pleasing man, right? So if you take it by the definition, I'm connected to following Christ as a Christian. But there are aspects of spirituality that are so interesting to me that I connect to, like manifestation, the law of attraction, all of those things. But all
Karma.
but all of those things are found in the Bible as well.
They are.
So I prefer to identify as someone who is a Christian. I just leave it there.
Yeah.
And then we can have the conversation around it. But the whole idea of spirituality, religion, and I find that a lot of the people who identify as spiritual and not religious are people who have been burned by the church.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People who have had bad experiences with Christianity or whichever religion it is. And they're just like, you know what? I'm a distance myself from all this bullshit.
Yeah. We can't
so-
curse on the podcast.
Yeah, so
Already-
it's the millennial
already have
Mic.
like a
Apple
X-rated.
Podcast already tell us so we're explicit and we don't curse.
Wow.
So we don't know.
But,
We
but
love you,
yeah.
Apple Podcast.
Sorry, Apple. Apple.
My father says I'm never gonna find a husband because of how much I curse, but my mother did. So I mean, I think it's gonna be okay.
It's gonna be fine.
I'm gonna tell you that one of the most popular people in the influencer space right now, she curses like a sailor, and she will tell you, like if you watch her YouTube channel, she'll tell you she cuss enough and she have a husband will love her off. Come on, Ali, talk
Oh
about
no,
it.
I was saying my father said that, but he married my mother.
Oh.
And my mother curses like a sailor.
Oh, oops.
Yeah.
Oh.
She brought it as a real life example
Yeah,
of what,
she
Yeah.
what
She
can
buck her
happen.
toe and she's like, beep, 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 beep. Something go wrong on her phone. Beep, 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 Ali, beep.
But
I'm like, okay.
to get back to the point, it's really people are just trying to navigate a space where everybody's looking for the answer, you know. Everybody's in pursuit of the answer.
Yeah.
All if you atheist, agnostic, everybody is looking for the answer. Whether you're looking for the answer in science, whether you're looking for the answer in the clear blue sky because you're just like God is up there somewhere, or you're looking for the answer in a book. You're looking.
Yeah.
So we're all searching. But the idea of defining who we are and what we are and da-da-da-da, I don't necessarily
Ascribe
ascribe to it because then we get in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because then you go and say to me, but Rush, you said you were religious.
Yeah.
So what you mean
Yeah.
by no,
I know.
well, you know, so it
Yeah,
corners
but
us. And
yeah.
you
What I
can't
think-
corner me because I'm not a cockroach.
Oh, okay.
Visit YouTube at RushCam. Like, comment, subscribe, and share. Don't forget to check the notifications tab.
No, but yeah.
Yeah, but I think, I mean, in conjunction with that, like, a lot of people don't realize that it's the label that's getting you into problems. You're focusing too much on the label and not on the actual belief system.
And what it is for you.
Exactly. So like earlier when we spoke about it in terms of like, you know, early in the podcast, and I explained to people that I just have a relationship with God, whatever you want to call it, that's up to you. Because you identify as a Christian. I have a problem with that label, mainly because at the highest level of Christianity sits Catholicism. And what Catholicism has now represented in the world in terms of, you know, that pedophilic, and there are some connotations that are real and it's not made up. We all see it, right? So I find that the moment I took away the label of Christian or Christianity or religious or spiritual and got down to what am I in search of? I'm in search of a relationship with God, a deep and profound relationship. I found that it was easier. You also touched on the whole thing about people's experience with the church. I found that when you talk to people and they have that spirituality or they have that connection, it's not that they don't believe in God, you know. It's not that they don't want to have that
They
relationship.
just don't want to be connected.
They're like, I rather call it laws of attraction than faith.
Yeah.
I rather call it manifestation than having
prayer.
faith. You understand? So it's really, how do we as a generation reconcile that when, of course, I don't know what your experience was like, but for me, church became, I have to go because my mother said I must go. And then eventually it turned into, oh no, I am seeking this out because I need this for me. But the initial introduction to church wasn't like, I need to be here or I want to be here.
You know? Something just popped up in my head. Viewers, listeners, followers. I was going to church for a very long time, yes, because my grandfather is an
It's
elder
just what you do.
at the church, and it's what we did, right? I decided at one point that there was an issue with me doing it as a chore or as a duty or out of obligation.
Yeah.
So I sought out a class at my church that was for young believers. At my church, I'm not considered a young believer. Me ups into the church. Yeah. So I went because I wanted to understand everything from scratch and develop that relationship. And I remember now that Joe Marie said it, I remember exactly why I stopped calling myself spiritual and went back to Christianity. Because I find that people who say that they're spiritual, or I find that spirituality as the construct takes away the accountability factor that is involved in Christianity. So you don't have to do anything. You don't have to follow any rules. You don't have to be held to any standard. You don't have to go anywhere. Nobody don't have to call you. You don't have to pray. You don't have to have faith. You don't have to have nothing.
Yeah.
Because, you're spiritual. And I never liked that idea.
Yeah.
So I went back to why I went to spirituality in the first place. And I realized that it was because I did not want anybody to hold me accountable. And I did not want to hold myself accountable either, because Christianity was also a lot of pressure. You must look this way, you must talk this way, whatever. So instead of all of that pressure, we're just like, you know what? I'm spiritual.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Or like, let me just scratch this all together and rebuild something that feels attainable
that
to
works
me.
For me.
Yeah.
When that means that we have to look at what Christianity is teaching.
Right.
Which is that you are enough as you are, and you are in pursuit of Christ, and you will never be perfect.
Yeah.
But it is because of God's love towards you that you are trying to live the best life for your Creator. You understand?
Yeah.
But because of the construct that Christianity means, it's like you have to do it right, and if you don't get it right, whatever. So many people are just like, you know what?
Yeah.
I can't take the pressure.
Yeah.
I'ma just be something else.
Yeah. Well, it's like when you go to school, right? Like,
Yeah.
a way of rebellion is like just getting bad grades.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I'm not interested in this. You're
Yeah.
forcing it down my throat. I feel
Yeah.
like I have to conform. You know, in Jamaica, we get very rote education, like, especially when we're really young. You have to memorize this. You have to do 8 classes.
Right.
You have to
Which
do,
is church
you know?
as well.
Yeah, right? Like, and it's interesting that both of you guys talked about, like, how church was like a traditional exercise for you, where you went, or well, Joe, you said it didn't feel as forced upon you.
Yeah, because what happened is that, like, so I was going to the same church since I was 3 years old, and I would have left when I was 23, which is 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah?
Okay. All right. Very different to my
over
experience.
over time, it was, hey, your parents carrying you to church. My grandmother, you know, the people them who they said that they hold up the post in the church, she hold up the post in the church. My mother would have gone, and then eventually they stopped going, and then I continued going, and then I had a very close relationship with my pastor because we're actually born the same day, so it was like a running joke every June 6th, happy birthday, happy same to you kind of vibe. But what I focused on and what I realized is that there came a time when I was listening to the sermons and they were resonating. I was listening to the sermons and I had questions. I wasn't just like, okay, when is 12 o'clock going to come because I really want to go home and eat some rice and peas. Like, it stopped being an exercise and more a vocation for me. But then that's when I realized just how problematic it was. Because when I asked certain questions, so like, when you hear about the principles about coming to church as you are, but when the man off the street coming to church and everybody's skin out them face, because the church is located in downtown. Like deep downtown. You understand? So when you see the man coming off of the road and you see people making up their face, I said, but we have a contradiction here.
Yeah. It's
because
hypocritical.
If the person is coming to church and seeking out God in whatever format they're in, you as a person who is ushering people into that space should not now decide that,
But Jo Marie,
this is it.
That raises two things for me. It raises, number one, the fact that we're all here just trying, you know, meaning, so yes, I might know the theory of Christianity and I might know the idea of it, but sometimes in practice I might get it wrong.
Which is why when you think about it, the stripping down of, okay, so the challenge I've always had with Christianity from I was like 12 and asking the questions and nobody not giving a straight answer, I was like, look, I need to understand because I'm seeing more contradiction than clarity. I need to understand because I don't feel comfortable ascribing to something that on a very basic level, like the presence of denominations has always been controversial to me because I'm like, is a one book, is a one God, is a one relationship. How did we end up with denominations? And so that is why.
Take out the post-it.
I'm writing notes so that I don't interrupt. Continue.
Yeah, and that is why, like, the more I understand and the more I see the dynamics of it, I'm just like, well, we have to figure out a way to bring believers and to evangelize without it being confusing. Because I have gone to other churches And the challenge I have, and I can easily see where if you're not serious about your walk with God, you would give up. Because you go one church, the people, them, and you're just like, all right, cool, that don't resonate with me. But this is Christianity, not a problem. You go to another church, the man is doing the eulogy for the person who is deceased, and he's talking about the fact that if she never there with the two man them, she wouldn't get what she gets.
I'm
and
stressed
this is what
out.
happened.
I love it.
And I'm like, and the and then it went into the biological and physiology of sex, and I'm just like, but mom, and this was like 3-4 years ago, so it's not that long ago, and I'm just like, but mom, why are we here? Because this is somebody's funeral. This is there's a certain reverence, I believe, for funerals, right? And instead of focusing on the life of the person, you decide to air out the person's dirty laundry. Them can't defend themselves. Them family here are grieving, and this is what we focus on. And this is under the hallowed halls of church. But so for me, what I've come to realize is this, right? So no matter what my differing views might be, this is what I've realized very simply. The messenger matters.
Okay.
That's one.
Yes.
2, understanding being a pastor and having that vocation, I believe, is something that in an ideal world you should be called to. Because some people treat it like a job. It's not a job. You can.
But I think so many things are not a job.
Yeah.
I think like teaching is not a job.
Yeah.
I think it's a vocation.
But
But then what you realize,
this is yes,
yeah.
I get.
But then what you realize is, and I guess that's the difference in dynamics, is that in teaching, the person, the impact, and the trajectory. Actually, it's actually a really great comparison, Ali, because the trajectory, like my trajectory, but for my 5th grade teacher, not the Joe Marie you're seeing here.
Right.
Today.
The whole idea
that.
of sheep and shepherd and all of that.
So when you think of that in the context of church, and I'm being very specific about church and not just Christianity and whatever, because I can tell you that all of the conversations I've had with people about, and this is just creating a space for them, because I don't interrogate people and say, why are you not going to church? It's more like, hey, you have such a deep, profound relationship with God. Like, how did you get there? And I said the first thing I did was seek out a place where I could. Because a lot of us are going to the wrong building or the wrong church. Because church is not just a building,
Exactly,
it's the people,
but-
it's the whatever.
But not to belabor the point, because guys, I know you never come here for religion, but I'm so sorry. That's a part of who I am. Not to belabor, but that's what you see. What I said at the start about religion being the human construct is one of the first things that my grandfather taught me. My grandfather said to me, if you don't like this church, find another church.
Yeah.
Oh,
because
Somebody build
Christianity,
humans come into it and create the culture.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he's like, that is why we have denominations. It's not as much belief as it is actually.
This community don't really gel with me, so I'm gonna go gel
and
with
it's
this
not
other
just it's not just
But then that's
personality
when you get into
and
problems.
community and whatever, you know. But Joma, remember, there's also a lot of gray areas in the Bible, right? Meaning the black and white is that love, this, that. You see things like what we're gonna wear, or we're gonna look,
Yeah.
all of those things are
interpretable.
yes and
Yeah.
very human, right? And so you have to find your place. What matters to you? What matters to you? So I mean,
But then you see the thing
One
is,
day
and
at a time,
and
you gotta go
and that's why like that aspect of it is what is causing confusion for somebody who is stepping into that space and saying, this denomination say I must wear a long jean skirt. This denomination say I must come as I am. Which one matters? Because you do know that there are people who run away from the church because they don't have church clothes, like basic things. So again, I mean, for me, I don't want to, because this is something I'm very passionate about, because I also realize that it's a very big barrier for people.
Yeah.
And having had these very intimate conversations with people and realizing that they could be having a much more spirit-filled life,
but
if they let go of certain
the problem
things.
is the focus being on church.
Mm-hmm.
Church cannot be the center of the conversation, because we'll always end up at this space where we're talking.
It's so interesting because I didn't grow up like that at all. Like religion wasn't the
Yeah.
center of my upbringing.
And I didn't want to exclude you from the convo either.
No. It's really interesting for me to hear it this way, because in the same way that religion wasn't the center of my upbringing, it played such a role in like my development. Like I felt often like I was searching, like where do I go?
Yeah.
This idea of faith being like something that you can just hold on to, and it make you feel better. I was like, what is that? You know what I mean? So it's like, I think it can happen in both ways, where
Yeah.
you can grow up without it at the center and be turned off or turned on to it.
Oh,
and you can
definitely,
grow up with
yeah.
it, you know, and I never really liked the idea of like, I had to go to this brick and mortar place to get this
Yeah.
faith that everyone was talking about. I mean, I grew up in a predominantly Jewish household. My household is pretty blended, but like we celebrate Christmas and Hanukkah. But I found, like, for example, I much more enjoyed like going to church for the vibe, because it was like singing and it felt very
praise and
upbeat.
worship,
And you know, Jamaica is a very religious country, so it felt like you feel included and all of those kind of things. But then I also enjoyed going to synagogue from the perspective of like, this is my heritage. Like, I'm here to learn. And in both places, I had lots of questions. And in both places, neither place met me where I needed to be met.
Yeah.
And so I don't consider myself spiritual either, but I definitely don't ascribe to like one set of beliefs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's still that, like, so for people listening to the podcast who are still searching for like your set of beliefs,
That's normal.
it's super normal. You know, I used to go around saying, oh, I'm agnostic. And I was like, Ali, are you agnostic? You know, like, that just sounds like a good thing to say.
Searching.
You know, I'm hashtag searching, right? Like, because,
Yeah.
you know, do I believe in God? Who's God? You know?
Yeah.
What idea
does
of
it
God,
mean?
right? Like, you know, my mother used to tell me all the time she believed in love. And like, that was never good enough for, you know, like very religious people. It was never like, okay, that she didn't come out and say, I believe in God, you know?
Yeah.
And she was just like, I believe in love, and the way in which that manifests, I'm comfortable with. And I will constantly look for love in life.
But you see, what I'd encourage listeners to do is the same way that we pursue, like if you have a topic, you're interested in cells, in biology. The same way that you pursue it in like a book way with theology and
learn.
This, like the person who taught me in this class that I'm talking about, she went to school to interpretation, understanding religion, theology, all of those things. And the way that she broke it down, the people who are teaching you in church, the pastors and so on, they don't have the answers.
They don't.
And when you hear her answers, you're like, okay.
There are roots to
this
believe.
makes sense. Exactly.
Because you can start piecing it together.
Exactly. So somebody like you, Ali, would benefit very much from a conversation like that. And I'm sure that I could invite you to one of the classes on Zoom.
I love going to any of those things because I think it's so important to learn.
People like you and me and Joe who are a little, you know, like some things need to make sense.
And the truth
is, I believe in science, you know, and the universe, right?
So.
Yeah, and the truth is, what you will realize
Not
over
enough.
time is, like, as Ali was speaking, and she mentioned going to these two separate places and still having questions. The thing about it is, you are to be brought to a place where you start to ask questions, acknowledging that this person is carrying you to a point. And then after that point, the vocation becomes yours now. Where you go and search out the answers, and you go and search out the things. Because the truth is, after going to the class, after you've done the class over time, you realize that I have some questions that really and truly it's not cleanly defined. So like when I pop into you know, the we have a thing in the middle of the week on Wednesdays, which is like go deeper, where the sermon that was on Sunday, like they go deeper, as the name suggests.
I love that.
That's
you
cool.
know,
that's so
and what
cool.
you realize,
it's like a grad school, like the tutor session.
It's like one-on-one kind of thing.
Wow.
So what I realized with that though is that like I'll be in church and I always make notes because like I'm really that girl who just like, all right, you said to read this, I'm gonna read this. But then when I realize is that the perspective that you get from listening and then interrogating things and contextualizing things for you is so important. Because when you can't find context, you can't find relatability. You can't find, oh, this makes sense to me, because people can read the same verse. Like, for example, whether it be Jeremiah 29, people can read that scene and say, oh, I know the plans I have for you. And they get completely different things from it. And that's fine. I think what happens is
life,
when,
right?
I think what happens is when somebody's at the front of the church as a leader of the church, and you look on them and say, well, whatever they whatever they say goes, you lose sight of
Not gonna happen.
Because my pastor is very adamant. He's like, look, you need to come here and know that I am the messenger for you. If I am not the messenger for you, leave.
Pack up.
And I'm not saying it like a negative thing. Like, he's like, yo, I know for a fact that I can lead some people to the place where they need to get to. I can't lead all. So I think being explorative, being open is so important, because the truth is you're not going to get all the answers.
And I think using religion as a way to explore our humanity is also really fascinating. Ali, so Brene Brown, I love her. She has so many conversations on that, and like she's so open about her religion. But, you know, we all pretend like we don't cherry pick things, you know, but we all cherry pick things, you know, and we've all cherry picked versions of religion and spirituality.
That work
for us, you know what I mean? And I think, like, for me, right, there are just some core values or like core tenets. And Brene talks about them a lot, like vulnerability, honesty, you know, community, inclusivity, right? Like you go back to these values and then you take from religion or various teachings, like what connect to your personal values, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think Brene Brown has really good.
This conversation is really interesting.
It took a turn.
I'm genuinely enjoying it because this is a millennial conversation.
Yeah.
And I know people don't like the branding of millennial.
Well, this is a Millennial Mic, so we are branded.
No, for sure. But this is something that you hear people talk about in the different corners, and you're just like, But are we really open? Because the three of us have three different points of views. You know, if you realize,
completely different.
But it's such a good conversation,
and we can find power in each other's experience.
Yeah,
and I think also just being open, because what I've also realized is that your ability to and it's not about convincing. It's about, okay, you are asking me what's working for me. Let me share what's working for me. If it don't work for you, that's fine. I'm not going to judge you. I'm not going to look on you anyway. And I think that openness is really key.
Yeah.
Because until you really are in a space where you have differing views and you can sit down and listen, because even in that difference, there's similarity.
Yeah.
Even in that difference, there's still something that you can learn and pick from. So,
I don't want to take your interview and run with it, but it's something that I realize in politics as well, and in the social media space, people don't know why they believe what they believe, so it's very hard to have these conversations.
Amen.
That is the problem. So you see, open and honest conversations
is a big thing.
Open and honest conversations are difficult for a lot of people to have because they haven't sat and assessed why they believe what they believe.
But you also have to be willing to go into yourself and be uncomfortable with you.
Yeah.
Because you're going to say something in a conversation you never know.
You
had it down there. And you're like, oop. You know, that's not me.
It
but
comes
it's
out.
You know what I mean? Like it's
and it's that need for acceptance and censorship that actually results in you being lost as to who you are over time.
Come on, quotables.
Because honestly, like it's always fascinating to me when the person offline, online, and you're just like, what happened here? And then you realize, the reason you think this is because your currency for acceptance is higher, or your value of acceptance is higher than authenticity.
Yes.
It's more like, no, I don't want to be the person that says that, so I'm just going to go ahead with it.
You know what, let me not say it.
Right.
I saw it in the most recent election.
In Jamaica.
For
our international audience, we recently had an election.
Yeah. It was like it was more popular for you to have a certain view.
Oh, for sure.
And if you had a view that was opposite to that, you don't have no sense. You're idiot.
And then it's also accepting that there are certain conversations that have to be in a certain context, because to step into an empty barrel and try and have conversation, which is what social media unfortunately has become, you have to be like, okay, well, I just know that if I speak my truth here and people don't accept it, that doesn't invalidate my truth. It just means that this is not the space for it. So out.
There we go.
And I think too, like, people use social media as a way of like getting likes for clapbacks.
Oops.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like somebody says something.
Clout chasers. That's what we call them.
So somebody says something and then like the other person in effect says, this is dumb. But in a really cute, funny rhyming way. It's gonna be okay.
It's perfectly fine.
Rushane just took off his mask for a brief moment to sip some water, and he's looking at me like, "Is this okay, miss?"
No, I think it was more the coaster.
No, the coaster fell, and I was just like, Lord of mercy, to go measure up the audio.
Big up Simona Nielsen.
Oh
Miss
yeah, she
Sim.
made my bed.
She's amazing. She's really amazing. But I want us to get into some questions that people wouldn't ask you on your channel, or because you're in the seat of hosting your channel that maybe people wouldn't ask. So Joe, you want to ask one of those kind of
Okay. So,
By the way, I've been enjoying the conversation.
we're so glad. I feel like this is going to be a part 1 and 2 because we're really moving with the time.
Wow.
But that's
We love it. We love it. We love
I
it.
love it.
It's
And
the
I'm
season finale. I
vibes.
think it's allowed.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's been
yeah.
an amazing season. And what an amazing way to end.
Woo woo. So,
I can't wait for people to see video footage.
yeah, it's gonna be a whole. I'm just trying to keep it together. Anywho, so you talk about that transition, that time in your life when you moved from, law to content creation, and we're just keeping it at that level because you'd be able to speak deeper. But you've been asked that so many times, and you've ventilated those issues so many times. So we want to know, like, what's a question about the transition that you would prefer people to ask you about? So people assume that you've left law, you're gone, you're not a lawyer anymore, and you've stepped into this space. But there's more to the story than that. What's a question about that transition that you just be like, hey, if you want to ask me something, ask me about this instead.
Okay, so I'll start by saying the question that I hate. The
So
question
people do not ask.
Do not ask
I don't like
this.
why you left your job. Why you left law? No, it's why you left law.
Yeah.
That question to me is so flat.
It's that they want you to give information that they're not
and
willing to
it
ask
It's not
directly
it's not a
for.
well
It doesn't have
researched question.
context. It
Yeah.
doesn't. You can't leave law. How about that?
Yeah.
So many different things. But what I'd prefer for people to ask, and this is actually not that abstract, but a little abstract. I wish people asked me what I'd have done differently. So I wish people would say, hey, we know that you quit your job as an attorney and you chose to work in the creative field. What would you have done differently in that transitional period? I think that question allows me to touch on the leaving the job, the moving to creative, the lessons you learn as a new creative, all of those things, navigating the space, whatever. I think that,
Okay. So a more layered question.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess this is kind of a follow-up. But I love that Jo Marie uses this word all the time, multi-potentialite. It just makes me feel good inside when she uses it.
I don't love it, but I'm going to tell you why soon. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, well, I like it.
No, I don't mind it. Okay, let me take it back.
No, you cannot. We can disagree.
I'll tell you what it is. Go on, talk.
Okay. Oh God, am I gonna not like it?
No,
if
I
you tell me?
realized that I was projecting.
Go ahead. Okay. But as somebody who could do a variety of things,
There we go.
because you have an infinite number of skills, right? Let's just play this out.
Diplomacy.
Do you wrestle with the school of thought that says you should focus on one thing and the innate calling to explore all of your passions?
That is why I don't like it. Because I feel...
Because it's like you can't have so much potential.
Yeah, exactly. And it's me projecting my insecurity of being jack of all trades, master of none.
Yeah.
So I don't want to be
Amen.
that. I don't want...
Amen.
I know I don't really care that much what people think, because if I want to do it, I'm going to do it anyway. So sorry.
Jo Marie asked me what I like to do the other day outside of the work I do. And I'm like... But I need to master the work that I do.
Exactly.
You know?
But you see,
I don't like it.
I've always thought that the whole, you see, mastery, it doesn't mean that you can't master more than one thing.
Yeah.
Mastery.
But mastery feel
just
like
means
it takes long, you
No,
know?
Yes.
Master feel heavy.
No.
Master feel like you have 10 years.
Jo Marie's about to therapize us.
No,
Right? Let me fix this.
Let's sort this out, okay? The notion of mastery, yes, there is the whole school of thought. I believe it was Malcolm Gladwell that speaks about the 10,000 hours, right? In terms of once you've done something for that length of time, you're a master, you've whatever. The thing about
we're
it,
all
though,
showering masters.
Yeah, pretty much.
Or like sleeping masters.
You're
Nothing's your
so
master then in
funny.
your life.
Yeah.
So funny, Hallie.
That's why.
I'm sorry for our international audience.
Look here, yeah, because guys, the three of us are really good friends in real life. So this is a whole thing.
By the way, guys, I really know how to pronounce Ali's name. Just letting you know that I'm.
It's an inside joke.
But yes.
Yeah.
It's kind of outside now.
So the whole jack of all trades, master of none. The thing is, what we fixate on is that we think we need to be at the same level of proficiency for everything, and that's really not the case. If it is that you know how to sing, dance, karate, do this, you can do the things, which means that you can do multiple things. But
it's
the
not
notion
that
that you're an I think for me, where it becomes like,
for me is
when
that.
you say it's an expert.
Like, I have to have the same.
Yeah,
Ali,
no.
yours is addressed. I'll talk about mine in a moment.
Yeah. No, because
she
what
knew
I'm
that was
saying,
mine, you know?
yeah, but let's tackle that. But seriously, you don't have to get the same level of proficiency for each thing. But also, I think the problem that you run into though is that where I see where there's a problem is when you hold yourself up to be an expert. No, digital marketing, social media, for example, so many people think they're an expert and they're whatever, when all they know how to do is post. They don't have strategy, they don't think anything behind it. And that's why those metrics are in place to actually be like, in order to be an expert in something, you have to display a level of
I
competence.
realize why the mask always going on. You know, small.
It is.
Continue. Mr. Joe Maria struggle with the mask.
I'm
Me and Ali mask
struggling.
catch on because we have long nose.
Continue,
Joe.
But we do want our audience to understand that we're taking care of each other and each other's
we
family.
are.
Yeah,
really
so that's why we have on the mask.
That's why we have
I'm trying to
on
get
the
it together.
Yeah, but yes.
Also,
but
because I'm paranoid.
I think we're all.
yes. Continue, Joe.
Barney.
So
Yeah.
sorry to cut you.
Let me just
Yeah. In the middle. Yeah, so I just think that once you let go of the notion that you need to be proficient in everything and that you have this layered experience, because the multi-potentialite label aside, I think so many of us fixate on I can only be one thing in life, and that is where I have a problem.
Okay, so let me just get it out
Clarify.
there.
Yeah.
My
Clarify for
issue
us.
is that I project on others by thinking that they call me a multi-potentialite because it's their nice, cute way of saying that I'm enough.
Okay. So, but if you unpack that,
You
right?
get me?
Wow, I would
No, but-
never have thought that.
Yeah, I'm just
Yeah.
like, if you want to say enough, you can just say enough, you know. Him do nothing, him nothing. You
No,
know?
but
By the
Yeah.
way,
What
international
does that-
audience, what enough mean? How I explain enough?
No, means that
means
you're
a
very
lot.
involved.
You're
You're
extra.
very, you're
very
extra.
involved.
Yeah, extra.
A
Yeah,
lot.
that's what Americans would say, right? It's like
She's
you're
so extra. Like,
Yeah.
it depends on which American, though, because the New York black ones, she too much. Okay. Yeah.
It's the accents for me.
See,
Yeah.
multi-potential.
But then you see, when you...
Sorry, I cancelled myself.
Oh my
The
God.
chat. I'm gonna leave the
I
chat.
cannot. Yeah. No, but when you think about it from that perspective, then you realize that projection is based on something that you have to unpack, because when you get comfortable with this whole notion that you can do so many things, like I relate to that a lot from like high school. Right? Because I was that person who was like in 7 clubs and was president of 4 and did all of that. I wasn't doing it to be enough. Like, I did it because on a very deep level, these things make me happy. And I knew that from that stage. A lot of us get into the space of exploration. Like, after we finish formal schooling, and we're like, yeah, Lord, we hate the job, so we need to find an outlet. I never had that problem. My thing was always, if I wanted to do, and I think if you unpack it a bit further, it's how you were raised. Mm-hmm. My mother never raised me on limitations. She raised me on, if you want to go to the table tennis, do the table tennis.
Never,
make sure
right.
that whatever.
I was always
if
told,
you
do
want to
whatever you
this.
want
Yeah.
to do.
Yeah.
Right?
Try
But
new things.
So because of that, I think in your experience, you being fiercely Rushane is only strange to people who that's not their reality.
yeah. But
Yeah.
I think it's two things. One, It's obviously not that serious to me because I still do everything I want to do.
Yes, it's not holding you back.
Yeah, it's not crippling
Which is
at
good.
all, guys. So that's lesson number one. All of you feel away, still do it.
Yeah.
If you
Interrogate the fear.
Interrogate the fear. Ali is like the translator. But
That's why I'm
two
here.
is I didn't consider myself as someone who was extra or too much until I went to university where everybody else was not doing enough. I was just like, excuse me.
Like, hello?
They were just like,
have
wow.
5 meetings today.
I was like, guys, come on. Like, you can get first class honors and be on the Law Society and do dancing and do other things. Like, come on. And everybody was looking at me like, who is this guy and why is he here?
Yeah.
You know, and that is when I was like, is that
Maybe
how
have something
everybody?
about me.
Yeah. I was like, oh, I have a little enoughness. But it's
I'm a little bit
something
extra.
I was just a little insecure about in university because it was just, it's just like he's so much.
Yeah.
But it was never too much. You know, I'm a lot, but not.
I feel like women get the too much all the time.
Oh, for sure. You
Because
can't
I've
have too much.
always felt too much.
Don't have.
Jomer, did you ever feel that way? No.
I think, let me tell you, and let me say, I can relate to that experience in the sense that I had to get comfortable with the fact that being a woman, being a multi-talented woman, and being somebody who knows that not only can I do these things, but I can do these things well, I had to figure out, like, okay, I can't shy away from it because it will bother me. But at the same time, like, you're in these spaces where you kind of have to play to the rules, but at the same time, you can't play to the rules.
But you know,
it's a weird
Let me
dynamic.
tell
like
you.
a spread the leg on the subway type of experience, right? Like, you know, when you go on the subway and men, them legs spread,
Yeah.
and women just small up in the
Yeah.
seat.
Let me tell you why Jo
I want
Marie
to
has
spread
been
my legs,
able
but
to do this because of her personality. Jo Marie's personality is not what people would consider to be a lot,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Air quotes. So she can get away with doing a lot because her personality is not
Maybe
a
I'm
lot.
just a lot.
No.
No.
No. Here's what I'm gonna say to you. Your personality is more outgoing and you're more of an extrovert, and so people want to, even if you didn't do anything,
Be like,
people would still want to put you in a box because that light, they're just like, we don't. Probably she should stay over there, you know. But so it's just knowing and balancing all of those different things. Not saying that Jo Marie is underwhelming either. It's just the way that people have been socialized.
They associate extroversion with something that is so aspirational that for you to have it naturally, it's a problem.
Yes.
I think also it's confused oftentimes with like an abundance of confidence.
Yes.
Yeah.
No,
Because like I will talk to anybody,
Yes.
because I like people,
No.
not because I
Yeah.
feel
and
like.
But then you see the
associate
thing
it
is,
with
you know,
fakeness
the thing
as
is-
well, you know.
Yeah.
But then the thing is, I think one of the things, and this is my own experience with you, one of the things that I really appreciated is that you being, when I think of how we met, for example, that's not a regular engagement in the like,
No.
yeah, that's not
No,
normal.
for
So
true.
because of that, I had to balance. I meet people at this level over some very high context thing. This is somebody who does not know me from Adams, but has gotten whatever vibe she has gotten and has decided that,
pursues it,
hey, let's have coffee.
Yeah.
In this particular dispensation, people are like, I have to know that person here. All right, so Ali is Rushane's friend. I know Rushane. Rushane need to introduce me to Ali because for me to go meet Ali on my own is weird. Or for Ali to approach me without Rushane is weird because Ali don't know me like that. So how it go?
And they
Like-
associate it with fake. Like they say, oh, no man, she wants something from me, or
Yeah.
oh,
But the
she
truth
fake
is
whatever. 'Cause
we've spent a lot of time through formal schooling on
Yeah.
doing a lot of that
Yeah.
very like
Yeah.
childlike wonder
Yeah.
that we had when we just talked to anybody. We all started out just talking to anybody. Even if you were shy, I can think back to my childhood and clearly identify the very ambivert nature of my personality.
Yeah.
When I'm around family, una not gonna recognize me versus here. Una not
Yeah.
gonna understand it, bear laugh, bear foolishness. And then that's because I also appreciated that their personality switches that come on based on your comfort level even if it is that you as a level, because like I remember when Rushane picked up on it, he's like, is this my intro? Like, are you an introvert? Like, I didn't know that. And I was like, it really matters where I am.
Yeah.
Because 10 people can know me, 5 people going to say, Jo Marie, introvert, that don't make no sense. The next 5 going to be like, but this girl don't talk above a certain decibel. So what you realize over time is, and especially going back to you, Ali, is you represent an outlier in the best way possible, but that has to be appreciated in the context of, I need to get to know Ali because I don't know a lot of Ali's in my life.
No,
I never go
yeah,
school with
yeah,
Ali's. I never,
yeah.
the girls who were like Ali's, who, you know, were beautiful and had really nice personalities, there was something that was always off.
They had ulterior
You get me?
motive.
Yeah, they were
Yeah,
very like,
fake.
yeah, you
That's
know.
the word, they were
So because
fake.
of that, you are going to navigate this earth forever, living in somewhat of a stereotype of what people think somebody who is attractive and smart and whatever would be like. And so because you're aware of it, it's not for you to be any less. It's for you to be like, okay, maybe that's why this person doesn't readily get it, because we've all really grown up knowing that.
Also,
look here.
Don't worry, if we're calling it 100, like in society and especially in the millennial space, and Gen Zs do it as well. Sorry guys, being an introvert is cool. Like, it's cooler to be.
Yeah.
You're just like to not
like
care.
I fly solo.
I'm just like I'm not like people. I don't like people. Like, I'm just
I don't like people.
yeah. Like,
I love the translation. That was a vibe.
to not like people and to not be a people person is almost like it makes you cooler.
Yeah.
Like I'm so
Like only
conscious.
certain people can chat to me.
Oh yeah, and
Which
I was
is
talking
so
to
weird.
I was talking
So
to
weird. I'm like, why don't you
I was
want
talking
to
to
talk
Tammy
to me?
about it, and she said we need to accept that we actually like people.
Yeah.
You know, like 'cause-
Tammy, it's so obvious you
yeah,
like
so
people.
I just
when
want
you
to talk to
her.
people and go about my business. You know?
Yeah.
I don't mean I
But
just
I
like
think, but
people.
I'm wondering, right? And let me throw the question out to the both of you. At what point did we unlearn the notion that socialization actually required it to be social? At what point did we unlearn that?
Ask it in another way, please.
All right. So,
Ask it in the affirmative.
okay. So,
Question.
Really?
Because
When I give it some work?
you're asking
How we
us
reach
in-
grammar school?
No,
I
just
get what
mean-
he's saying. I get
she
what he's
asked
saying.
I know.
Like,
round the bush instead of just say,
Insane
why
that.
do
Yeah.
you or
Okay.
do you?
Yeah.
why? Okay.
All right,
Why? Why do people decide that they would much prefer to not interact with you or deal with you a certain way? That's the thing. I don't know how to phrase the question, because
You
what
do
I'm
know.
really,
Just blurt
what
it
I'm
out.
really trying to ask is,
You don't have to ask,
who
right?
took the social out of social media? That's what I want to know.
Who
Like,
the people who are not social?
wow.
The people
No,
who are
but
not
but you know what?
social.
And that's why I asked it the way I asked it before, because it's not just online; it's in person.
No, I know.
Like,
but
even
here's what.
yeah.
People who do not have what we have, right? People who do not have that magic. All this time in the 90s and in the 80s, you know, remember, you know, you had to be like a Disney kid. You had to be like, right? That used to be cool. Social media was the great equalizer.
It's the Mickey Mouse voice for me.
Social
Seriously.
media and phones would be the great equalizer, right?
Right.
Where everybody know,
And they weren't.
yeah. So you realize that you did not have that thing before that was cool.
Never had the magic.
No, you never had the magic.
No, you
So
can't
you
diss people
decide
online.
to create your magic. And your magic is being not that. So the Tumblr came about with the Tumblr moods and
I love Tumblr.
I'm just so like uninterested. And they set the precedent for what cool is because they were always not cool.
Yeah.
TV before was the only way that you could be cool. Like the TV kids, the Disney kids,
Yeah.
everybody.
I wanted to be
Social
on TV,
media,
you know?
Exactly, but you could be on TV if you're an introvert.
No.
Social
guess.
media now.
And my daddy didn't let me go to the Nickelodeon audition I was invited to, which was
You
kind
know,
of...
say, me I go just
Sorry.
Hello, she's reliving the childhood moment.
It was a trauma.
no, it triggers me because I'm just like, wow.
Sorry.
I'll tell you guys about it offline.
You want a hand?
No. I'll tell you guys about it offline.
You want
I
me
did
sanitize?
not audition for Nickelodeon. But with social media and phones and all of that, you can decide what is cool.
Mhm.
You can
become the
decide,
tastemaker.
Yeah, you decide. Yeah, you become the tastemaker, and so that kind of became the thing.
So is social
like-
media a rebellion from what we would have grown up as
Yes,
being cool?
it,
Okay.
Yes, it is.
So it makes more things cool. Like it makes
Yes,
more personalities cool, which I think in a way is equalizing.
It's good, you know, but it's also
It's like TikTok. I think TikTok is the mecca of that notion
exactly
about being tastemakers. Yeah.
But then
I still don't
because-
understand TikTok.
TikTok is alright. I'm gonna talk to you. But because now you're trying to either be a tastemaker or align with what the tastemakers are doing.
Yeah. You've
you-
lost your identity
You've
in
lost
the middle
your
of it.
identity.
Yeah.
Look at fashion, for example, and the Kardashians and Kim. When Kim became connected to Kanye, Kim's fashion changed. Everything now was muted, and it was now cool to the neutrals, and it's so cool to wear neutrals, and you can't take fashion too seriously because, like, if you take it too seriously, you care
You're gonna
too
look like
much.
you try too hard.
Yeah, and you can't try too hard. Why?
voice though.
You know, like why? How did we end
Yeah.
up there? But then now everybody, you know, we're not floral again. You know, we're not pattern. Joe Marie, me seeing it floral. I like it. You know, we're not colors. Your mask must be black. Your outfit must be black. Your shoes must be black
Yeah.
because it's just like cool.
I really like a black outfit though.
It's so cool.
It is.
So-
like what you have on.
Oh yeah, I mean all black.
Yeah.
But
I was like, this is ironic.
no, I really do wear a lot of black and white.
No, but I feel like
Me
but
You get what
then
I'm
the thing-
saying,
No,
though?
but I feel like in that case, like for example, talking about your fashion sense, right? That's a choice you made irrespective, even if you're influenced. That's a choice that you've made because you're comfortable with it. But then here's
Yeah.
the thing: people are going to look on you and be like, "Yeah, we all know you bought that because X, Y, Z." So like, how do you still? I don't want to say you're convincing people that you,
You
have
have
an
to ask
identity because you
yourself,
have an
you know.
identity,
Yeah.
right?
No, it's true.
But how do you?
How is your
Yeah.
identity? How does your identity come across?
Yeah, because
I,
like
I get so anxious about that. Like,
yeah,
Oh,
because
we
what we
know.
talk because it's true.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
But then the
We've
thing
all
is, when
talked
you get-
about it.
yeah, when you
I'm
get,
like, how I respond?
yeah. But then the thing is, I feel like when you investigate certain things, like you have to find your own anchors that are independent of people because. Like when it's so weird because like this outfit represents me at like the maximum of personality in terms of when my mother used to say to me, she's like, boy, you know, you and these patterns, like you read, because I will mix a pattern and do whatever. And I just did not care. Like I just didn't care. And then we're going through old photos of her. And I'm just like, what me?
Pattern queen.
Pattern queen.
Hello.
I got it from, and then it's just that. It's like, over time, you're either going to stand in your authenticity and really embrace it, or you're going to be lost in this whole notion of identity.
But the question that he asked and the question that Ali asked is, how do you know? How will I know? Right?
If he really loves me.
Let me tell you. We have the unique
I'm like over here, like, let's
we
go.
have the unique experience of being of developing our identity pre-social media.
Oh, that's
And
a
so we
blessing.
know that who we are right now
Yeah.
is like
Who we are.
Who we are,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, we're influenced by other things,
course.
but social media didn't control the
Oh,
narrative
no,
as a child.
Yes,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so
Because
what
a
you-
lot of the childhood experiences for people now, especially Gen Z,
Yes,
is more preoccupied with what's
with
Instagram
what's-
ready.
Yes,
We did
yes,
not care.
yes.
We
It's
genuinely
true.
did not
Exactly.
care.
So you have to you have to look at even what they eat, what they like, what they're wearing, what the shows that they watch, everything.
Yeah. Like
With
I can't do
us-
the smoothie bowl thing.
No. With us, you know that. Let me tell you a good way to gauge whether or not you're being your authentic self. If you have an unpopular opinion that is really unpopular about anything, clothes, shows, anything,
Yeah.
clothes and shows, not shoes. Yes.
Okay. Went into a loophole.
Yeah, it's like clothes and
It's
shows.
gonna sound like a glitch on the podcast. Like clothes, shoes,
Shows.
clothes, shows.
Clothes,
Shows.
I
But-
just said clothes and
yeah.
shoes because I got
Shows.
Yeah, but you- if and not only your unpopular opinion about it, but standing in that unpopular opinion, not on social media. You hear how many layers I just added?
Yeah.
So let us say, Ali, that bodycons are in style. You don't like bodycons. That's one thing, in your
Never really
authenticity.
did.
2 is not wearing the bodycon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cause one thing
3
is not
is
to
not-
like it.
Yeah. 3 is not announcing that you are not wearing it because it is in style. That is how I know that you are standing in authenticity.
Yeah.
You don't. It's not a public thing. It's not a social media thing. It's not a anything. It's not cool not to like it. You just don't like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're not wearing it because you don't like it.
Yeah.
That's like me on high heels, I feel like.
You know, yeah. It's like
Like, I
just
think
wear
people
what
think
I
I'm making a
want.
statement by wearing sneakers with like a
I
business
thought it
suit.
was, you know.
But I
thought
just
it was.
really don't like
Oh, I
sneakers.
thought you
I
were
don't
going
really
for
like
the
heels.
the
The AOC vibe.
yeah.
I mean,
I'm more
obviously,
like a
everyone wants-
corporate Silicon Valley kind of girl.
I just don't understand why women can't have like the sneaker vibe and men can't have it. I'm like,
No, because the
but
thing
that
is,
don't mean
over
it-
time, what you realize, right?
You
So,
mean-
like, especially navigating the legal space, one of the things I realized is that
buttoned
people,
up.
like, when you talk about stereotypes, when you talk about projection, when you talk about, like,
I
why are
hate
you
it.
not wearing heels to court? I'm just like, the reason I'm not wearing heels to court is because I have to walk up these stairs, I have to navigate this space, and I have files in my hand. So there's a practical
Like,
way
and
of
it
doing
hurts.
things. But even beyond that, what you will realize is it's not for me to tell you that I'm flat-footed. It's not for me to tell you that heels are not heels literally feel like somebody's doing this to my foot.
Yeah.
So therefore, I don't have the time to explain to you the very practical reason why I'm not doing this. However, it's beyond that.
It stands. That
It's
is
the stere-
authentic.
it's the
That's
stereotype.
authenticity.
Yeah,
You know.
it's a stereotype. It's
Because
like
you're supposed to go into court with the heels on.
yeah, no, but then who created that? Because you do
Yeah.
have like there are law firms, that perpetuate a hiring practice that if you do not wear makeup and you
Look,
do not wear heels, you
don't
cannot
get me
work
started.
here.
That is how I
Yeah,
could have gotten so many jobs, by the way, because
Yeah.
I look the part.
Yeah.
Oh God, you should have seen me with a lineup and a suit.
I wouldn't have gotten it.
No,
My business casual don't set them ways.
Ali,
Yeah.
I don't even remember how your mouth look. Jeez Louise. Ali took off the mask a while ago and I was like, huh?
Is that your face?
Wow, Ali. no, but
I needed
the
water, people.
authenticity thing is a daily struggle. Not for me, because me do anything me want and you can't trick me.
But let me ask you a question. How did you get here? Because the Rushane that I know from Campion and the Rushane
draw
now,
files?
it's not that they're different. It's a different intensity though. So what was the thing that changed
What's
for
the
you?
tell us what the intensity is, because you know and they don't. So tell
Yeah.
them.
So this is where you're supposed to answer the question. You're not supposed to turn it around
This
on
is
me.
new for me
Anyway.
as well.
Yeah.
No, so the thing is, I am not surprised. And Rushane will tell you, I am not surprised about the Rushane that you see today. I'm not surprised. In terms of how he got here, what he's doing, all of these things, there was like breadcrumbs that you knew that eventually this is exactly where it would end, or this is exactly where it would land, sorry. So for me, the difference, I guess, is that there was hesitation along that journey, as with all things. But we've reached this stride where it's like, okay, so let me tell you something. I'm doing the skincare thing. I'm going to do this. I need to call this person. Okay, cool. Blah, blah, blah. It's not, am I going to do it? What if it don't? Whatever.
Not a questioning
it's not, the
energy.
mental gymnastics are just not there, because what was symbolic of that hesitation is that Rushane and I used to have these conversations in front of like right at his gate, where it was like, oh, we want to do this and you want to do that and whatever. So it's like, for me, so that's the backstory. So my question is, moving from that hesitation, but still knowing that, hey, God has a plan for you and this is where you want to go, to, yeah, I'm in this space. All right, I look around. I want that. I'm going for that. I want that. Okay. It's like we're making plans versus excuses. Like, how did you get there?
Two things.
And do you still have internal questions?
My internal questions are not fed by doubt as they were before. The internal questions now would more be about strategy.
Yeah, logistics.
And logistics and where I'm supposed to end up. It's never about can I, should I.
Yeah.
How did
That's
I
an
get there?
amazing place to go.
By doing things, by doing. The confidence that I've developed has been through just doing. Instead of saying maybe not, or instead of trying, or I just did stuff. And I know it sounds like the simplest thing to people listening. It's just like, of course you're going to do things, whatever. But Joe Marie and Ali can tell you that I just try. And I just do what I have to do. And if it don't work out, I just say, okay, fine, let me try another way.
Right.
And I know that confidence is, it's not that easy, you know. Not that easy to come by. But confidence for me has been developed through less talking
Yeah.
and more doing. I
No
don't.
more analysis
Yeah.
paralysis.
Yeah, I don't, and I don't ask people what they think.
Mm.
I know it sounds like such an arrogant thing to say, but I don't care what you think.
Do you think that makes a difference, though?
It
Limiting
does.
the input of
It
external
does.
feedback
It
in
does.
making a decision?
It does. And Jo Marie can tell you, Ali, like I've messaged her before and asked for input and not used it.
These are the facts.
Like I ask you what you think about something and you say something, you give me a feedback. I don't like your feedback. I don't think it makes
Yeah.
any sense for what I want. I'm not doing that. Next.
Yeah, but thank you for your feedback.
But thanks.
Yeah.
By the way, it is a huge honor that I asked you for your feedback. I didn't have to.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that I'll always get it right, but it means that I'm trusting my voice. And in trusting your voice time and time again and seeing it work out, you develop that confidence. Mark you, there are times I've trusted my voice and it went to shit. Like it don't work.
But that just sharpens
But
the
that
voice.
just sharpens you, and
Yeah.
you're just, because there are things that I've done, and I'm just like, hell no, am I doing that again? Never,
Yeah.
right? And the last thing I'll say is, I trust my gut. Jo Marie and Ali, you know exactly what I'm talking about when
Yeah.
I say, I will wake up one day and I am just like, listen, this does not make any sense.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do this anymore.
Yeah.
And I cannot betray myself by continuing to do it.
Yeah.
And so I've eliminated self-betrayal altogether. My voice tell me something. There's a reason. There must be a reason. Why is it that you can wake up today, Ali, and you like something just tell you in your spirit, in your gut, boy, Ali, this not make no sense.
Yeah.
Ali left the man. Ali was apply for this job. Ali XYZ, you did not have that thought before today, and it is
And
on
it
your
came up
spirit.
clear.
It came up clear. Why are you ignoring it?
Yeah.
It just doesn't make any sense to me. So I always listen to my voice and I trust myself and trust my voice. Come on. I'm very passionate about it. And I almost got into a preaching thing because it's like I had to do it.
Yeah.
You think it's easy to get up and be like, oh, well, my gut tells me that I'm not supposed to be doing this job as an attorney, but my gut also tells me that I should not apply for another job.
Yeah.
Okay, let me give myself a chance to step up in a life. Let me try. Let me give myself a chance. Let's see how it goes. I have to listen.
Yeah. Do you
So,
think
yeah.
that we are also
That's how I developed to answer your
You
question.
bring it back.
no, yeah, it's a very good full answer. I always wonder too if everyone experiences different privileges in life, right? And I always bring this up because I think it's such an important thing for us to examine, right?
Wow.
But do you think that you created space for yourself to step up in life, or do you think you were in a position that privileged you to take a chance on you?
Woo! That is a.
Look at Joe Marie
Do I
face.
have pretty privilege? A joke. I don't.
Cannot.
No, come on.
Or like a combination?
Ask it again, Ali. Ask it again.
Okay. So for example, let me contextualize it then.
No, man. Ask it back same way.
Okay.
Or you never have it written down.
No, I have it in some head.
Oh.
I have it in my thoughts. Do you think that it was out of the work that you did to allow yourself the space to step up in life in the way that you felt was your purpose? Or do you feel as though you are privileged enough to have that space available to you? Or was it some combination of the two?
I think, okay, of course, as I usually disclaimer rise, if I don't answer it, you can always, you know. The first thing that a lot of people asked me was, or said about me was that I must be privileged if I'm able to quit my job and figure it out tomorrow.
I figured that was a thought.
Yeah.
Which is why I asked.
But it was never privilege in terms of money. It was privilege in terms of what I was leaving behind. And so, okay, if you did law, you're an attorney, there must be some privilege for you to even get there, right? To be a first class honors graduate, somebody who could be able to get a job tomorrow, I think at the back of my mind, I knew that I had the privilege from that end.
So you could
where
always,
I could always
it was a safety
go
net.
back.
It was a safety net.
It was a safety net. And I always tell myself that, like, it's like, come on, a lot of your classmates know that they could not do that, right? Because being marketable or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
No, in terms of going into the space, I definitely think that I had to create a space and fight to create a space. Because at the table of influencers, YouTubers, entertainers, all of the above, everyone had something that they could identify themselves as. You're a singer, you're a dancer, you're a comedian, you're an actor. I was myself. I was Rushane. What you do on YouTube? Oh. Talk.
Be myself.
About what? Life. So what you do?
Talk.
Be myself.
And that was such a thing when YouTube first started to, you know, you had to come on YouTube strong.
You had to
have a thing.
You had to have a thing.
Yeah,
and they tell you have to have a thing. And so I had to like knock on the door, and even do some like the collabs and, you know, just like take things for less than I deserved, everything, until somebody opened the door. And when them open that door, I not even introduce myself. I just walk and ease over myself on the table. Just shift over two people.
You pull out your lawn chair and you
Yes.
said, me as in only
Me
yourself.
never even walk with my chair.
Yeah.
I walked with my chair
This is
into
a
the room.
foldable. You know,
Until you guys order more furniture, I brought my own chair.
I went to Active before
Yes,
this.
because I knew that a table would be in this
Matter
room.
of fact, I have a tent outside. I was
Yes.
waiting for the door to open, right?
Yes. No, but it was that clearing of the space, because to stand in authenticity and know that it's okay to be me, and it's okay to do the things that I do in the way that I do it, even though everybody won't get it. That is creating a space.
Yeah.
Because Jamaican people, if we're being honest, they like when they can put a title on you. She sings. Singer, dancer, even when they like when you host. You host Digital Rising Stars. You host Dancing Dynamite. You have a radio show. Like, they like when they can identify who you are and what you do.
Yeah.
So the easiest way to get to the top and to clear that space or whatever would be to have a
Easily
talent.
definable.
A easily definable talent. Come on, Kim Kardashian. Can we talk?
Yeah.
Kim, would you like to be on the Pack Up podcast?
Hello. Are you doing sports? What you doing? And so, that is it. But Ali, the example is so perfect when you say you walk in with your fold-out chair.
Yeah.
I think that's something Stacey Abrams says. She says, look, if they're not changing the table, we're going to just drop down our lawn chairs.
Yeah.
Because we're not coming out of this room.
I knew a table was in the room, though, you know.
Yeah.
I knew a table was in the room. So all I know is that I had to get into the room.
Yeah. But do you think that it's that categorization that essentially limits people in terms of their potential? Because what would you call me, for example? What would you call you?
A
You know?
star.
Yeah.
We
Thank
are
you.
stars in
But
the
you know, but if you're
universe.
following the same thing, like the need to define, like how do you, okay, it's his fixation on your bio versus what you bring to the table beyond the things that you've done. Because your bio is what you've done, not what you can do or will do in the future. So how do you really navigate that like really quickly? Because I find that so many people, if you never grew up thinking that you could be limitless, the more and more Jamaica tries to give you that label, the more and more you start to limit yourself. So it's how do you navigate that really?
You don't. You don't navigate it. You don't. You just continue to be.
Okay.
And in trying to navigate it, you are actually doing the same thing that you're trying not to do, which is to define.
Right.
Yeah.
So by trying to navigate,
You're avoiding the box. By being in the box.
So you're trying to avoid the box by trying to find a way to define yourself outside of the box.
But do you think definition is required
No.
in certain opportunities?
No. Short answer, no.
Okay.
Let me tell you why. In the last 2 years, if you look at most of the successful people in Jamaica and in the world, in the YouTube, entertainment, social media space, you found that this whole idea of not being defined is the new definition. So we don't like when we can't define it anymore.
Yeah.
Right? So it's almost like it's trending now to not be defined. Rihanna used to be singer, songwriter, extraordinary recording artist.
Yeah.
Not anymore. You can't define Rihanna. Tomorrow Rihanna might come out with ring lights, relights.
And everybody buying them.
You understand?
Yeah.
So that is a part of it too. But part of knowing that you cannot be defined means that you don't sit down and have conversations about how you will navigate the space of not being defined.
Yeah.
Because by doing that, you're trying to define yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't like that. I don't like that.
I feel like
Me and my homegirls.
I feel like the lack of definition conversation leads really well into our warm down questions.
Cool down.
Cool down question, warm up, cool down.
Yeah.
That makes sense. And after we finish our wrap up questions and close out the show, we do want to ask you like a bonus question for our season finale vibe.
Okay.
But for our wrap up questions, has mentorship played a role in your life? And do you mentor people in your life?
How do you define mentorship? Can I ask?
It can be peer mentorship. It can be mentorship from somebody that is in the same industry as you. I'm not defining mentorship. I'm just giving categories of the mentorship. Joe,
Which helps
would
to
you like
define
to-
it.
No, which helps to
Yeah,
define.
no,
It's
it helps
fine.
to
It's fine.
define.
It's fine. I have been mentored. Formally and informally. There are people who have mentored me who have never met me. And I don't consider them role models. I consider them mentors because I seek out their advice through publications, through different interviews, whatever. It's not, oh, I like what she wears, I like what she does, I like what she represents. It's more like I want answers from her on different things. Kris Jenner, I've sat and watched every Kris Jenner interview because she has the answers. There are things that Kris Jenner said, like, for example, when she just started Bruce's career and she used to go door by door selling, like with his press kit, right? That she would print out in the office and like those little lessons. Yeah. Locally, there are people who have mentored me. As much as we are now peers, I consider Rohan one of my mentors in the early stages, Rohan Perry. When I just started on YouTube, like there's so many things that I asked and there's so many pieces of advice that I got that, I mean, so helpful, so useful. In terms of business, there's so many people who have mentored me as well. My grandfather has mentored me in terms of emotional intelligence. Jo Marie has mentored me. No, it's true. Don't be weird. She look, no, but yeah. And then there are other people now who I am meeting and learning from as we go along. But I also don't like to. I said all of that, but I also don't like to call it mentorship.
Okay.
Because I feel like our human experiences, if we are really open to learning, we're being mentored all the
Constantly.
time.
Love
Constantly.
that. Love that.
So I've never really like ascribed to the notion of mentorship. I find that a lot of the people who are all about mentorship are users. I know it's a very, but they're just like, oh, this is my mentor. Yeah.
And this is my ladder.
Yeah. This is my ladder. Exactly. You know? And it's just like, if we really had those human experiences where we talk and we share and whatever, would we really want to label it as mentorship?
Yeah, no.
No, we wouldn't.
Because I don't walk around like Rushane and Jo Marie mentor me.
Yeah,
I'm like, we're friends. They give me really good advice.
We're
and
friends.
I've experienced peer mentorship as a result.
We're
I
friends.
think when you try to formalize mentorship, though, in addition to the whole climbing the ladder thing, the other issue is you don't realize that this person has to want to pour into you, and this person has to actually believe in you for it to be mentorship.
Absolutely.
Because like this person could be wildly successful, but they can't help you get to where you need to get to. So you understand, like,
and they might have all the tools and the keys and everything, you know, to give you advice.
But that's as far
on
as
a
it can
broad
go.
scope,
Yeah.
but it's not. They don't believe in you. It's not tailored to you. They don't know what you.
It's like a broad sweep of things. Yeah.
But people that I've mentored, let's not talk about people I've mentored. First of all, let's talk about people who have used me. Oh yeah.
This is the Millennial Mic, and we are entering the controversial section.
No. There are a lot of people who will go around the place and say that I've mentored them. I've not mentored them. I've been used by them. They've come and they've wanted advice, and I've given them advice, believing in them 150%, pouring into their lives, but I've ultimately been used. Because mentorship is also a two-way thing.
Yeah, it is.
I mentor you, but I also am supposed to be getting from the relationship.
Yeah.
It's not been that case for a lot of people who have said that I've mentored them.
Yeah.
They've just come to the bank of Rush and they've withdrawn and they've gone about their business. They didn't even pay bank fees. Cool?
Yeah.
So that is, But there are many people who will fit under that umbrella.
Yeah.
Who cannot
In
call
life,
back my
for
phone.
everybody.
Yes, cannot call back my phone.
By the
I've
way,
text
for
from
those
everyone,
who are listening,
don't
Rashane's
call
way
back
of
my phone.
Rashane's way of telling you that it's over.
Don't
is
call back my
not
phone.
call back his phone.
No, don't call back my phone. Don't play with me. Anyway, so that's one. But there are people who have really poured into as friends, colleagues. I think a peer mentor. You guys are we definitely have a peer mentorship group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Growth and goals.
Yeah, it's called Growth and Goals, but I've never thought of it as mentorship.
Yeah.
I just think of it of myself as navigating life.
It's a safe space that values you.
Yeah.
I think it's important to make the distinction because mentorship sounds like really clinical. But if
you
can find safe spaces that you feel like you can grow from,
Mentorship also sometimes sounds like this person knows more than me or is
Yeah.
better than me and I have to be more like them.
when maybe the mentorship comes from that they know your blind spot. They know the space that your blind spot is and so they can help you see it.
Exactly.
That's mentorship.
Like Tammy, for example, Tammy is about 8 years my senior. She's like, she's upper millennial, right? I consider us peers.
Yeah.
Not because, like, Tammy has lived a life frozen or hyperventilating all the way now to meet the Mitchells, right? I could look at it and say, oh, she knows so much more than me and she has lived so much more than me. She calls me for advice. I call her for advice.
Yeah. Reciprocity.
Yeah. Ali has a different upbringing than me financially. Ali has a different skin color than me. Ali has different experiences from me. Ali gets from me, and I get from her. Right? Jo Marie, you know the story. We the Schweppes.
We're coming from far.
We're coming from all. So it's like, so when people come on these podcasts and YouTube channels and they tell you about the importance of mentorship, what they really want to tell you about is the importance of relationships.
Yeah.
It's really not mentorship as much as it's relationships.
Networking, really.
Networking.
Yeah.
It's a good thing we got this on the season finale because we've asked every guest about mentorship. So it's perfect.
Yeah.
No, this is a perfect way of underscoring.
This
Yeah.
perspective, I think, allows
Carries
us
us
to
into
realize.
season 2.
Yeah, carries us into season 2.
Beautifully.
But also, what it does is that people need to understand there are layers to mentorship, because maybe all of the guests who have come before you, their mentorship was like, oh, because I think Shay spoke about the fact that his mentor actually cares about him.
Yeah.
Which was a big thing for him.
Yeah.
He
didn't expect
he wasn't
it.
open to mentorship before that, because
Yeah.
he was like, yeah, I don't want to be in
And
this
that
space.
is a relationship.
yeah.
You know, it's a relationship. And sometimes mentorship, as you said, Jo Marie, doesn't have to have a tinge of business. You don't have to have any business involved.
Yeah.
It could be, you could be the most brilliant business person, like in terms of the economics, in terms of,
It's a loop.
in terms of the business of
Frozen
it and
chills.
having business acumen and all of those things. But when it comes to relationships, you're poor at it. Like Louis Litt in Suits.
Yeah.
You,
Brilliant financial attorney.
you need a
Really
you
not
need
good
a
at it.
mentor, Louis. Louis, you need a mentor because your emotional intelligence is on 2. 1 on a bad day, a 0 on a very bad day.
Yeah.
You know, so it all depends, and that means that you also know what your blind spots are, and you
Right.
know where you need help. Because to go to somebody who can only give you money, an investor, that's not a mentor. That is somebody who's going to give you some dollars. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, we've had really like a full discussion on so many things.
It's going to have a split up in
Yeah,
two
definitely.
parts.
But
I love the idea of
good
2
thing-
parts, though.
Yeah, the good thing about it though is that we really got to. This is such a nice way to tie everything together, because I feel like we touched on so many cross sections across so many conversations. The last thing, or one of the last things we want to find out from you is, you have so many layers to you that I feel like you have to be, or we feel like you have to be fed from different sources in terms of the things that sustain you, whether it be, your spirituality or otherwise. So like, what are some of your favorite resources that allow you to, push forward in your business, push forward in life, really?
And it can be your favorite right now, favorite in
Yeah,
life. It don't have to be.
I remember when I saw this question, and of course I've been listening to the podcast.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I give feedback, as you guys know.
Yes.
Very much so.
No, but when I was listening, I was like, what do I consume? That's such a beautiful question for me, because my answer is not very clinical or
Shocking.
yeah, right? It's like, okay, I listened to this podcast called The Homecoming. Her name is Dr. Fema or something like that. And she talks about coming home to yourself. And it's just a beautiful space for me to unpack and to learn more about myself in terms of how I interact with others and my relationships and so on. So that's very important for me. That's a very good resource. And before I continue, listeners, my resources help me to develop not only business-wise, but my person, who I am, because I'm in the business of people.
Yeah.
Right? I was watching a video that I posted yesterday with Jazzelise, and I said, I have a gift, because the way that I'm able to relate to people is a gift. But I've had to sharpen that gift by consuming the right resources. So back to that now. I read a lot of random articles, not just from the newspaper, because no offense to the people at the newspaper, but remember when you were growing up, you used to read the newspaper because
the editorial
writing
section
style and the editorial section. You know that writing is not the same as it used to be, right? So I read so many different. I read the newspaper. I read articles. I read. Right now, my book of choice is not a book, but it's my friend's thesis on law of of the international law and armed conflict.
Wow.
She's doing her DPhil at Oxford.
Yeah, man.
And,
Camille.
yeah.
That sounds like something I would sit down and read.
Yeah, and I'm
Yeah.
helping her to proofread it, just
Yeah.
to look for mistakes and whatever. And I'm browsing it, but she really asked me to just browse it. But I ended up reading it because I'm like, Article 51, come on, we have to talk about the UN Charter, are we not? But so like stuff like that, and then I listen to a lot of music.
We know you love to sing.
Yeah.
Mm.
All right, I listen to a lot of music. I love the movement of Jamaican music right now. I listen to my Savannah, I listen to my Leela, I listen to my Protege, I listen to my Naomi, I listen to my Tessellated, everybody. And it's just staying grounded. Like, I also watch a lot of, no, this is going to sound so typical, but I'm not one of those people who read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. But I watch a lot of Super Soul Sunday with Oprah. And when I start watching Super Soul Sunday, whoever the guest is, I go into a wormhole on the guest. So that's how I ended up on Brené Brown. I'm just like, wow.
Anything Brené said, that's like Brené for me. Anything Brené say,
You're just like,
I'm
you know
like,
what?
any guess you have, I'm buying their book.
I'm gonna find it out.
I'm doing everything.
And the last thing I'm reading right now, this book by Elizabeth Gilbert called Big Magic.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. Someone suggested it to me.
I struggled with it, actually.
Really?
Well, we'll talk about that.
I
I liked it, but I struggled with it. And I'm still interrogating why.
Have you read The Alchemist or whatever?
No.
I'm gonna try and read those like popular books.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of doing like a popular book binge.
Yeah.
Like
You have to do the 4
Rich
agreements
Dad,
also
if you're
the
doing
4
that.
agreements.
Yeah.
Yeah.
May I also suggest that
That's such
there's
an art
a
of
school
not
of
giving
thought.
up.
That's
I
that's
like
a good book.
Unfuck Yourself, actually. That's one of
Okay.
my favorites
Wow.
of those popular
Oh,
books.
Ali.
It's
Yeah.
like self-help, but like raw.
You have
Just-
audiobooks, send me. No, like
yeah, I
seriously.
listened to the
Yeah.
audiobook.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
I think also this is just, and it might be a little controversial, but I also believe that it's good to not read those books because you don't want to think like everybody else. Because those
Yeah.
books tend to cultivate herd thinking, and you can
Yes,
see it on
man.
Instagram, a lot of it.
Yes.
Because like Robert Kiyosaki cannot talk to me when he's now bankrupt and
Ooh.
talking to me about that. So that's why I'm just saying.
I think we're
sorry,
packing
not
up.
too
I think we're
controversial.
packing up.
but you know, unpopular
But I'm
opinion.
just saying, yeah.
I remember Michelle Obama's book. What's it called? again? Becoming. I haven't read it yet.
I loved it.
And that is my mother read it, and she was just like, "It's not what I expected."
Mhm.
And I said, "Why isn't it what you expected?" She said, "Because I've read so many books like this before, and I just thought that it would be very
Yeah.
typical.
Different.
Like I thought it would be very, guys. This is I grew up. I am.
Yeah.
So. This is my story. Real ghetto story. Da, 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 da. And she's just like, so from that angle, I didn't love it because but I loved it because it wasn't that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It really wasn't.
It wasn't, and
It
so
was much more
yeah.
her becoming story as
Yeah.
opposed to her upbringing. Story.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We like to read those books to have an answer.
Mm-hmm.
When really and truly it's just carrying us on a journey,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and we have to arrive
Yeah.
at that.
You have to water your
place.
mental garden very carefully because like I find that the less I read those books is the more I'm actually able to think broader.
Independently too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
For sure. So I'm not really into that right now. I just like to read random articles. I'm out of control with the randomization of my life. Which is why my brain thinks the way it does. Like I'm able to have like all these random different conversations, but
I call my brother a font of useless information because he
Yeah.
has all of this
he
random
just
knowledge.
Did
I'm
you
like,
know?
I'm like, are you an encyclopedia?
No, but
What's
it's
going
kind of
on?
cool.
But it's fun.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's really interesting to be around
Yeah.
people like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so where and how can our audience connect with you online? Is it at RushCam on everything?
I'm RushCam everywhere. Like
RushCam
there's
everywhere,
no
all day.
variation of Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. It's
Everything
RushCam.
RushCam.
Yeah.
RUS.
HCAM.
Boom. All right, Rush.
M as in monkey. Yeah. or money. Haha.
RushCam.
Right. I'm just like, I hope nobody's like looking for RushCam.
No. Yes, cam, like camera.
Yes.
Yeah. Or Campbell.
Campbell.
Rush. We can't thank you enough for being with us. And thank you, as always, to our audience for spending time with the Millennial Mic. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Twitter or join our mailing list at themillennialmic.com to find out how you can win a mentorship session with RushCam himself. Like, comment, subscribe to the Millennial Mic on all podcast platforms. We're so invested in understanding more about you, our audience, who you want to hear from, what you want to learn about, and what you want to see coming from the Millennial Mic. Rush, we're going to need your help with this part. At the end of the show, we say, I'm Ali.
I'm Joe.
And I'm Rush.
And this has been
The Millennial Mic. But I never done it. I wanted to say something before I go.
Okay.
I just love how I hijack this show.
Okay. All right.
No,
so,
but
Plot
honestly though, guys, excellent job. Thank you so much for creating this space for us. I know that this was a thought one random day, and we're at the end of season 1. So you did that. Things you did, that. So I hope that you've been enjoying the experience as much as we've been enjoying it in terms of listening to you and sharing with you. And I hope that you guys are not hard on yourselves and that you guys really and truly
It's just a podcast.
take it for what it is and enjoy the journey.
yeah.
So for all of the people who are listening, thank you for being on the journey. And know that Ali and Joe appreciate it 150%. And we appreciate you guys for sharing with us. And I'm just super excited for season 2. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I love that. Can we do the I'm Ali, I'm
Yeah.
Joe, I'm Rush again?
We can do it now.
All right. Okay, Rush, we're going to need your help with this again. I'm Ali.
I'm Joe.
I'm Rush.
And this has been...
Oh, start.
Okay, one more
This
time,
has been.
This has been.
Oh,
been.
and so at the start, it's this
This
is.
is.
This
Yeah.
has
At the
been.
end, yeah.
Guys, I'm such a bootleg artist.
No.
Ready now.
All right, ready. I'm Ali.
I'm Joe.
I'm Rush.
And this has been
the
the
Millennial
Millennial
Mic.
Until season 2. Thank you, everybody.
Woo!
I love it.
I'm Ali.
I'm Joe.
And this is Milmas. We're here to chat with you a little bit more about our holiday giveaways called Milmas. Where you can win a mentorship session with one of our amazing guests. We have giveaways with Wendell Holland,
Amanda Taylor.
Tessellated,
Ruby Khan.
Jed Emerson,
The ladies from Center, Shalini and Jessica.
Dr. Che Bowen,
Protege.
Ali and Joe,
And RushCam.
So follow us on Instagram and Twitter to learn how to enter for your chance to win a mentorship session with one of these amazing guests or with us. So follow us on Instagram at The Millennial Mic. TheMillennialMic. Or on Twitter at The Mill Mic. TheMillennialMic. You can also visit our website at www.themillennialmic.com. You can also email us if you have any questions at bookings@themillennialmic.com. And remember, Millennial has 2 L's.
Well, you know what I later realized in life? It actually has 3 L's.
Oh my gosh. It's got 2 L's, then 2 N's, and then an L. Thank you so much for being an amazing audience.
Thank you so much for supporting us during the course of this journey. And we're giving you the gift of self-improvement.
Happy holidays and stay safe from
the Millennial Mic.
Woo woo! I'm Ali.
I'm Joe.
And this has been
Milma.
Woo!